Greetings, everyone, and happy Monday from the Global Speedrun Association. We've got a 70-star tournament race for you today, this time between Gainai and BlueBob. I'm Electric, and I'm super hyped to get into this one with all of you. As we can see, BlueBob experimenting with some sort of out-of-the-castle BLJ. Gainai just sitting pretty on the title screen, waiting in darkness for the start of this race. This should be a pretty nice matchup. Both these guys, as we can see, kind of filling out the top of the leaderboard with 2 wins so far. So one of these guys is going to get knocked down to a 2-win, 1-loss record. The other sticking on by with 3 wins. Both these guys aren't going to want to lose this one. BlueBob has a little bit more to gain, though, as we can see, being 17 points behind. And as we get further down on the list, of course, Punkay and Cheese are going to be looking at the outcome of this race, kind of seeing who's going to be their next big point takedown as they try to move towards the top of this leaderboard. So this should be a pretty exciting matchup here. And we've got both the guys getting started now. It looks like they are both using the English version. We'll see in the intro, of course. Of course, I'm completely wrong. They're both using Japanese just to spite the commentator, I'm assuming. And that's just how these things go sometimes. Japanese does lose 2 to 3 seconds over the course of the run, even though the intro is faster because Peach doesn't read her letter. The text, for some reason, scrolls a bit slower, and some text boxes are structured differently. The Japanese text tends to fill the text box a bit more per line. So there are some boxes that in English you only have to scroll twice, whereas in JP you scroll 3 times. For instance, this very first text box just explaining that you're outside the castle. But all those little timing differences aside, these guys are about to be off with Lakitu skip. Let's see what type of setup they decide to go for. You see a lot of runners do a kick to the right to try to line themselves up with the side of the bridge a bit more easily. And that's what both these guys are going to be doing. Gainai getting the strat a little bit better than BlueBob, and you can see the effect right there. BlueBob had to deal with a slight misalignment, whereas Gainai was headed straight onto that bridge, was only having to worry about Mario's left and right position. So BlueBob going to be taking a little bit of a time loss just listening to Lakitu explain how the camera works, as if we need to know that. And now we're moving into BOB, of course. Gainai setting on up for bomb clip. And a hop, skip, and a jump with a big bomb. He's through the cage. BlueBob, however, a little bit antsy to grab something, and the box looks just enough like a round black bomb to be that object of his desire. But he's got the bomb in his hands now and clipping right through the cage. For those that don't know, grabbing the bomb mid-explosion forces it to clip Mario's hitbox, which gives you a lot of speed. And now we're going to be moving into the slide. Get those guesses out in chat. Sometimes commentators aren't the best at pointing out these slide guesses because they're so routine. We deal with 10 guesses a day. BlueBob not getting the wall kick there. If you try to hold a straight upright angle, you won't actually get that wall kick. You have to be slightly out of upright on most controllers. But Gainai, I'm thinking, is going to hit a 12-8. And BlueBob, I'm thinking a 12-9. And 12-8 from Gainai. Okay. Following the script. He's sticking with us here. Let's see what BlueBob's going to be able to score on this one. Looks like a nice angle. Good speed on the dismount. 12-9. Okay. Both the players followed the script. We can continue the race. Good job. Gainai now moving into Womp's Fortress. The evil start of the run. As a couple of the commentators said, it break the record. The real reason this stage is such a pain is minor mistakes lose you about 8 seconds apiece in this stage. Missing Cannonless, that's about 8 seconds. Missing Owless, about 8. Missing a cycle on 100 coin, again, about 8. So when you miss 2 of those things, you're down a quarter of a minute within the first stage of the run. It's very easy to just say, you know what, let me just start over. But of course, in a race scenario, you don't really have that option. So what you're seeing now is just how consistent these guys have gotten over the course of grinding this stage. And of course, a couple of typically more conservative strats than you'd normally see. I doubt we'll be seeing a pro 100 coin cycle from these players, but we'll have to see what they start going for here. Gainai trying to go up and take care of Owless, but managing to get clipped onto the left side of the fence, having to take the weirdest backup to Wild Blue I've ever seen. And meanwhile, BlueBob fortunately has Owless out of the way, and he's going for Pro Cycle 100 coin. So grabbing that line at the very start makes it very, very tight to hit the moving platform cycle you want here. He's got the slope jump, though. His movement looks good. The important part is going to be right here, though. He needs to kick to skip that ledge grab, and he's got it there. So he's well on his way to this cycle. You can see the platform starting to move. He caught it kind of in the middle, but Still works out. So now he's going to have less of a wait time picking up extra coins after he's done with his route. A little bit of a bonk there, but it's not a big deal. As Gainai finishes out Owlus real quick after that very weird slide down. So BlueBob finishing up the 100 point. That 7th red is a little bit more finicky than we really give these runners credit for, because you're not only trying to grab the red with that first kick, but you need to leave Mario in a position where he can then jump off of the thwomp without just sliding right down. If you go too far towards the coin, you'll like shoot a little past it after collecting it and land on a part of the thwomp that will cause Mario to just immediately slide. So 100 coins coming out from Gainai. Oh, having to take that extra little kick, he did the standard full cycle movement there. So he is going to have to grab a couple extra coins in the end, but he at least had a little bit more safety throughout the cycle for, you know, a couple of like dusty dives and other things that just lose a little bit of time here and there. BlueBob finally with Cannonless here. Goes for texture setup here. And it's a little hard to tell on our monitors how, okay, unfortunately that setup didn't quite work out. You want Mario's left hand to be just a very slight distance away from one of the dark grains of wood. And it can be a little hard to see when you don't have the monitor in full screen. But of course, these runners sitting right up next to a CRT, it's very easy, if they practice it a bunch, for them to actually tell that particular piece of wood. The difficulty, though, is in accurately navigating Mario to that, since where you land when you do the movement to the plank can slightly vary every time. And sometimes the way that he lands on the plank, as you can see BlueBob here having to struggle a little bit, shifting between down, left, and left, trying to get Mario in the exact right position. It's a little finicky. But he does get texture set up the second time around, not losing too much time, as Gainai is going to go ahead and bully the king of the castle. It's not much of a castle. It's just kind of a sandhill in the sky. It reminds me of like the Sky Keep from Skyward Sword. It's just a plot of land that just got picked up from somewhere. It's not really much of a fortress, I don't think. But whatever the case, this guy's willing to die for it, and we're very glad to take his star afterwards. Now, BlueBob here opting to go over the side of the Womp here. Some players prefer this because if you mistime the ground pound, it can make realigning Mario awkward, since Mario will actually bonk through the Womp. But BlueBob there just navigating around the side of the Thwomp to avoid that situation entirely. The only problem with that is the Womp's hitbox extends a fair amount past what you think it should. So you have to make sure to kick pretty wide to the right or left of him to make sure that you're actually getting away. And Gainai with a corner bonk after a near flawless top of the fortress here. And Commentator humiliates your fortress. Look, man, he should have just built a better fortress. It's not my fault. All right, so we got Gainai heading back into the slide. Let's see what he's able to get this time. I'm going to say a slight improvement on his 12-8, getting a 12-7 this time around, as BlueBob is going to be following right after. Thanks so much, Rip. Another 12-7 guess. It looks like a pretty nice angle. He's got some good speed on that turnaround. 12-9, okay. Okay. BlueBob, though, BlueBob 12-8. I think we're going to have a switch. That's what we're going to see here. He had a really, really nice rebound there. So I think he's doing... Yeah, it's going to be a 12-7 or 8. Okay, never mind. I used all my luck on the first slide, I guess. That's just kind of what happens here. Now let's see what Gainai's flying looks like here. Enters the stage at 43, and that turn there is a pretty difficult one to nail down. And as you can see why there, he actually overturned there. And this is a bit of a precarious position. He needs this coin now. Okay, good. Since that's the highest pair of coins, if you miss it more than, I believe, like twice or so, you will not have enough height to get them. You just have to restart the stage, which is just absolutely taxing. BlueBob with much, much better flying, of course, not missing any coins, but also just really, really nice, clean arcs. There's a lot that you're trying to accomplish while flying, and that's part of what makes it so hard. It's already not the most natural movement, and you're trying to optimize your dipping and ascending pattern to not lose much speed. You're trying to turn while grabbing the coins, and the whole time you're at the very end wanting to make sure that you're lined up to do the button skip. It's a very like precise series of things that have to happen for that star to go absolutely perfect. And it's very common for people to lose 3 or 4 seconds without really understanding why. But now we're in Dark World. Both these guys looking like they're trying for just standard Shig cycle. No box rollout from Gainai. Yeah, and BlueBob doing the same here. Not too surprised. Shig is still very easily possible without it, and no real reason to shoot for Shia in the race. Now, Gainai going for Pav Shig movement here. This can be a little faster if you arrive at Shig just really early. BlueBob gonna go ahead and go for standard Shig as well. And let's see what these wall kicks look like for Gainai. Just gonna go with a couple standard wall kicks, no double firsties. That's one thing that makes the ending of this stage hard, is actually accounting for double firsties if you're not expecting them. BlueBob also with the later frame wall kick at the start. If you're not quite sure what a firstie is, if either of the players would have flown a lot faster away from the wall without that star pattern appearing, that means that they hit the wall kick on the very first frame possible, which for some reason results in the speed calculation being slightly different, which actually gives Mario more speed rather than cutting his speed as a fraction. Oh, thanks, BDF. Starting a petition in Twitch chat for change. Both these guys, nice Bowser throw. We're gonna head into Sky Jump and then into everyone's favorite icy stage. Of course, I'm talking about Cool Mountain. And it'll be interesting seeing what route these guys decide to go with. I believe BlueBob kind of tends to play it a little more safe with CCM 18, but I'm not entirely sure with Gainai. It'll be really interesting to see Basement if either of these players decides to go for CCM 17. So we got Sky Jump here. Gainai with kind of an interesting camera setup for Sky Jump. I don't really see that too often. SL is the better winner stage. Without 100 coin, yeah, honestly. In 70 star at least, it's the better winner stage. This is still really, really nice and close. Neither of them missing Sky Jump. One of them with a slight issue on having to jump back into the box after the fact, but not a huge deal, fortunately. So now we've got Gainai heading on in to CCM. Let's see what these guys are going to be capable of here. It's going to be interesting seeing the star order here. Everyone has a slightly different preference for what to do about the text box at the start. So Gainai is actually going to be using the text box on wall kicks will work. The one kind of con of this is if you're not the greatest at this star and you die somewhat constantly, you actually want to do this later so that you don't have to get the text box again with it. BlueBob, however, opting to do the text box with Penguin. What's interesting about that strat is depending on how exactly you play, the text box can actually be easier to do with Penguin if you don't do the kick that you're supposed to do at the start. It's a little weird how the text box slightly changes your timing to where you actually have to do the strat differently, or at least have to know that it's going to affect your timing as you're going into it. Oh, Gainai trying for the moonwalk, but ending up going the wrong way with this rollout there, as BlueBob now going for wall kicks. Let's see. It looks good. Good to go. Of course, there is the argument too. You don't really want to plan for failure, so why would you plan to have to see this text box twice for dying to the wall kick star? But both these guys now going to be heading on into their later stars as they prepare for the CCM 18 route. So no double plus happening today. Both players opting to just play it more consistent, which you really can't blame them for. Let's see if BlueBob's able to get the moonwalk here. And it's good. Nice. Very snappy moonwalk. It's a little hard getting used to that control because all of that speed is negative speed. So he's not moving the stick in the way that you might think. He's moving the stick counter to how he wants Mario to move there. Okay, Gainai going into 100 coin now. This red grab can be a little weird, but he's got it there. Nice camera setup. And he's heading on down. Let's see if he goes for safety red here. BlueBob with a little extra dust on his rollout, but it doesn't really matter. The slide will build up your speed just fine anyway. And so Gainai not opting for safety red, only can miss one on this upcoming slide. Let's see what BlueBob decides on. And he's not opting for the safety either. Okay, here we go. This penguin race is especially stressful because you want the star that the penguin gives you, but you also want the 100 coin star on the way. So at this point, with the number of coins on the slide and the number that Gainai started with and BlueBob, they can only miss one coin apiece and still get that 100 coin. BlueBob just missed two. Okay, this is panic mode for BlueBob. Okay, this is a smart decision right here. He's just going to go ahead and take this shortcut and probably go ahead and get reds outside if I had to guess. He's gonna have to do something kind of weird as a backup. Gainai, though, also missing too many coins. Oh boy, this is gonna be an interesting race. There's gonna be some significant time loss, but who has more is gonna be a huge factor in determining the ultimate outcome of this race. The best decision right now is for Gainai to go for reds. Let's see if he does that. And he's doing that. Okay. BlueBob, meanwhile, is just going to redo the race. That's actually pretty clever because he missed those so early. It makes sense to just go ahead and try to finish quickly and then just restart the whole thing. So I think Gainai is... Okay, no, Gainai is just going back into the slide for Penguin. Never mind, he's not doing reds. The smartest decision is to do reds. Someone else has told me that. I haven't timed it personally, but I've heard through the grapevine that the smartest decision in this situation is to just do reds, grab that star with your 100 coin. But I think BlueBob is going to end up coming out ahead because of his decision to take that shortcut. Even though neither technically did the optimal routing, it's... Okay, now BlueBob did miss this extra coin here. This race is something so far. Gainai will be ahead because he decided to not miss another coin. Oh boy, this is something. This is what this stage can do. If you're not allowed to tap that reset button, this is what this stage can do. I'm sorry, I don't think I've really seen both players melt down so much in CCM before. And been solo, so I'm sorry for sounding as flustered as I probably do. This is just a lot to take in at once. But it's no matter, it's over, it's done with. They're still pretty close together, miraculously. I mean, that mistake, if it happened to just one of them, could have definitely made this a very one-sided race, so it's very good to see that at least it's not causing a huge differential this early. So, we're now heading into BBH. Let's go ahead and talk about what's going on here. Gainai with that nice side flip wall kick strat. It can be a little difficult to time, especially because you can't see the wall that you're kicking off of. And already depth perception is kind of a problem in this game, so not being able to even see the wall makes that even more of a problem. You're gonna go play with your rubber bands. Man, I can't believe you're that bored of BBH. I mean, it's 2 stars. That copy pasta is from a 120 stream. It's only 2 stars here. You can deal. Or here's a novel idea. Play with your rubber bands while you watch. Okay, so Gainai heading into the big boo kill. BlueBob now just has to... Oh, sorry, Gainai already did the big boo kill. And he actually went for the speedy side flip there. You see a lot of players opt to instead do the wall kick off of the same balcony that BlueBob also with the speedy side flip. Nice to see. It's really not super difficult. The only real difficulty with it is making it fast. Being able to do a front flip, as it's called. So one really intriguing tech in this game is normally you can only side flip within a range of, I think, about 180 degrees from where Mario's speed is currently going. But if you tilt the stick in that direction and then wait for Mario to start trying to side flip and then tilt the stick in another direction before hitting A, the game will move Mario's side flip in the final direction you're holding the stick. So you can actually do a side flip the same exact direction that Mario is already moving if you wait just a moment while you're pulling back on the stick. So that speedy side flip that you see in the entrance of BBH is actually you're holding into the house and then activating a side flip by holding directly away from the door's entrance, kind of towards the front right corner of the house. Then before you hit A, you quickly shift towards the upper left corner of the house. So I don't know how convoluted that explanation sounded, but basically you're doing a little bit more than just a side flip there. But that interesting little bit of tech makes it to where that wall kick is possible. You're able to do a side flip effectively 90 degrees towards where Mario was running. Nice plus attempt from Gainai there, as well as BlueBob. Or sorry, BlueBob got the plus. Gainai didn't. Gainai still going for this attempt and getting Big Bomb with it. Nice. You normally don't really see players liking to... Oh, but then the bomb explodes. The regrab wasn't quite right. That glitchy regrab is a must to extend the bomb's timer. Otherwise, you just don't have enough time to get to the pyramid. BlueBob cruising on along with some stars. Gainai really needs this trick to work now. This is always stressful whenever you're having to get plus to work on a late attempt like this. So it looks like he's got the Tama regrab now. He's got the double jump, and he's in there. Great to see. Great to see. Now, BlueBob has a slight advantage due to plus mishaps on Gainai's side, but it's very slight. It's just the star get animation, really. So about 8 to 9 seconds. LLL can easily change that. Let's see what these guys decide to go for. I do not support BlueBob's star order here. See, it's really ideal here that you get a text box because of what Gainai's doing. You already have to run a little bit before long jumping, so you may as well do the text box with reds because you're already not going to long jump immediately after the text box appears. Like, if you play the game, it'll make a little bit more sense. It's basically the text box takes up time that you're already having to wait to run and jump. So you may as well do the text box with reds. I personally blame BlueBob's star order for that mistake, even though it had nothing to do with it. I think it was just the mentality of it. That's my commentator's reverse curse of the evening. Gainai now heading into the volcano. Is BlueBob? It looks like BlueBob just likes taking care of these bully stars first, and you really can't blame him. These can be a little finicky. Gainai with long jump lava boost here, and it's good to go. Just gonna go with the nice triple jump movement here. Very, very clean execution. That long jump boost is very, at least at the top level, it's easy to get very consistent. Yeah, I know. It's almost like I'm not serious at all because my time is terrible. I really don't have the right to complain. It was a super clean bully star. This is just part of my way of filling the space. Is me griping about things like this. And so nice triple bully from Gainai despite having to take an extra burn as well. And BlueBob with a clean lava boost. The most temperamental star in the level. Done and over, fortunately. So Gainai now having to deal with these bully stars as BlueBob again works his way into the volcano. Let's see what his elevator tour looks like here. In particular with this star, it's very easy to try to jump off the final pole a bit too early and end up having your rollout kill you instead of bringing you to the star. So let's see what he does here. Nicely done. That rollout on the platform just before the star is a lot more precise than it looks. If you time it a little too late, Mario will just spin in front of the platform or bonk in front of the platform if you time it too early. Like, it's temperamental. You have to time it right, and especially get the right height on the pole before you jump dive. And BlueBob now going for the jump diving setup for Reds and paying for it pretty dearly. What is he doing? Why? What? I guess he wanted to make sure that he went faster, but I feel like he should have just gone forward into the red thing. That was a little bit of a strange decision. Didn't lose him a ton of time, though. Reds is honestly the most forgiving star in the game. If you make a mistake here on the star, you're not going to lose that much time. Okay, so now Gainai with Elevator Tour Star himself. Let's see how his goes. This one could give BlueBob an advantage should he take that unfortunate fall at the end. Let's hope that that doesn't happen. BlueBob, meanwhile, red hot log rolling. Nice rollout and the speed kick there. Very, very nicely executed. So, while we have a little bit of a moment as these players are moving into DDD, one little tech I'd like to touch on real quick that was just used on BlueBob's side is speed kicking. So normally in this game, hitting B will either make Mario attack with a punch or a kick, or it will make him dive. What decides that is Mario's speed. If it's high enough, it'll always be a dive. If it's low enough, it'll be an attack. If you're not holding A, it'll be a punch. If you're holding A, it'll be a kick. You can actually abuse this a bit, though. You're normally not really supposed to kick while maintaining speed, but if you let go of the stick while you're running on the ground fast enough to trigger a dive, and then kick, that will actually make the game give you a kick at a faster speed than it should, and that's called a speed kick. So when you see players do strats that you feel like they're kicking where anytime you try to do it, they're diving, that's what's happening, is they're actually releasing the stick, or if they're doing it optimally, they're just letting less pressure on the stick before they try to do the kick. And it's really useful in situations like that where you want to start a triple jump, but you also want to have a lot of speed, because you can just carry your speed from a dive rollout right into the triple jump with that first kick. And it's useful in certain situations where you can actually cut out a single jump with a kick by doing that tech. Nice swimming from both players. Now we're going to be seeing some submarine action. Let's see if either decides to go for front sub to try to cut this lead or extend it if you're in BlueBob's case. Fire Sea is looming over the horizon. That's got to be something on both these players' minds. Something that's going to come up and potentially change this race even more. So it looks like both players are lining up for rear sub so far. We'll know based on the camera, and it looks like rear sub for sure now. Rear sub is not entirely free, but it is still much easier than front sub. All you're really having to do is appropriately time your jump out of the water. Nice side flip from BlueBob. A little bit of a dusty rollout, but with the lag, that's totally understandable. And the nice jump dive into the star from both sides there. And so now both players are going to make a quick visit back to the Manta Ray. You may as well now before Fire Sea. And this Manta Ray is a huge pain. Let's hope that it doesn't impact these racers, but it looks good. And both these guys hitting all 5 rings. Okay, so for some reason, I guess Nintendo just tested that once and then said, all right, it's good, ship it. The first 6 rings work pretty okay. They work about the way you would expect them to. The second one can be a little weird sometimes, like it'll count later than you think it should, but overall the first 6 work. After that, something in the code makes the ring hitbox effectively turn sideways. So it's very hard to actually hit them if you miss any of the first 5. Now, both these players in Fire Sea, they're going to be going for lava boosts, or at least trying to. In the second half of the stage, there is an elevator platform on a constant cycle from the time you start in, and both players look like they're on a good enough cycle to get onto that elevator with a burn. So let's see. BlueBob's going to go for it first and followed directly by Gainai. It's good on BlueBob's side and Gainai's. That's awesome to see. If you miss that, even getting up the platforms on that same cycle will still lose you 8 seconds. Gainai is going to be losing some time here due to taking that burn. BlueBob taking the fastest possible ending here. So he's going to be saving a decent little chunk of time over Gainai. Not that full 8 seconds, but still a decent amount. And getting that early elevator cycle after missing Lava Boost is still a daunting task. You don't have that much extra time. And if you miss that, it's an additional like 15 seconds to wait for the elevator to go all the way down and all the way back up. So it's really nice to see both these guys get Lava Boost despite Gainai messing up the ending just slightly, putting BlueBob in a decent advantage lead, but nothing insurmountable as we're about to move upstairs. Right away when we're getting upstairs, you got the most RNG heavy star of the run with Wet Dry Roll 100, and of course TTM, which is basically Tippy Light. Gainai missing the throw here. That's rough. Just a little late, and with that, that is the most costly Bowser throw to miss because he's got to realign his QPUs. He's just got to tilt the world of stage, check and make sure everything's in alignment, pull out the level, pull out the laser thing in the do that people use. I don't know. TTM Reds has the most RNG. Look, that Goomba sucks, but I mean, you don't have to deal with coin spawns. Also, hi, Tama. And so BlueBob going to be going in on Wet Dry Roll 100 now. He's going to be trying first for this double box break here. And he gets it. Nice. So with that kick and proper stick movement, you're actually able to hit both boxes with one kick, saving a little bit of time. Did miss one coin, though. This route only accounts for missing one coin before you have to start getting backup boxes. Just long jump frame perfectly, forehead. I know what you mean, though. It's like when it does happen to face right towards you, you can still avoid it. It's always worrisome. You're like, am I going to get the frame this time? BlueBob having a little bit of an issue with that amp there, but he's getting past it. But now he's going to have to get the backup box. He's not going to be going down for that coin. He's going to opt for this box here, which is a pretty smart decision, considering now he'll probably be able to play it really fast and loose with the Chukya, which will save him a little bit of time later on. Gainai having a little bit of messy movement so far. I had an issue with the first couple of boxes. I didn't see exactly what it was, but I saw his movement there was weird. And it doesn't look like he's had the best RNG in a couple spots. BlueBob falling down, gonna have to get back up these platforms, which can kind of be a bit weird. You can see him trying to activate a triple jump there. He's just gonna opt for long jumps there. And luckily he got a firstie on that first wall kick, so he was able to get enough height to get up there pretty easily. Gainai having to take that same backup box. I think he must have missed a pretty considerable number of coins or something. He must have missed like half of a box spray. That's really... Oh, he missed a blue! Oh, jeez. Okay, yeah. Missing a blue in the stage is a no bueno. And it's surprisingly easy to happen if something just doesn't quite go right in that section. That blue's timer is a little tight. Okay, so Gainai's got it. Oh! Gainai barely clipping the fence, causing him to fall off the wooden platform. And now he's just hemorrhaging time compared to BlueBob, already out of the 100 coin. Gets that nice awning kick. And he's getting on his way with elevator already. He's probably going to collect the elevator star before Gainai's even got 100 coin. What an unfortunate 100 coin for Gainai. Just within 5 minutes, his run is really soured, unfortunately. But the star's over. And this is the time where he really just needs to reset that mentality. Just say, all right, that sucked, but it's over. I'm done with it. I can move on. There's more stars ahead, and that's that. It's in the past. And BlueBob, as we can see right now, is still playing well, but he's not impenetrable. We have seen a couple stars that he's messed up on in the past, so if Gainai can pull himself back together, which it looks like he has done so far based on this elevator movement, he's still got a definite shot at winning this one. Very nice elevator star. And BlueBob now heading on in for top of the town. That skeeter movement is very satisfying when you pull it off, just because of how fast you go, but it's also the most disappointing movement to mess up in the game. Because in a lot of cases, it's your fault and you know it's your fault as soon as it happens, and you're just having to take this swim of shame. It's so slow going up the ramp. BlueBob done with the stage, moving right along to THI now. I'm sure we got some Rock Chalk subs in the chat that will be sure to grace us with that beautiful emote. Now, he's going to start off with secrets here. As much as we say that THI sucks, this star makes it a little bit more worthwhile. It's got some really nice, interesting movement there, especially like that lag reduction going for that third secret, but besides this, the stage doesn't have much going for it. And Gainai at the top of the fortress. Very, very nicely done. Top of the fortress. You know what? Wet Dry World is more of a fortress than Womp's Fortress. Can we call it Womp's World and Wet Dry Fortress from now on? I feel like those names make a lot more sense. I mean, there's a town buried under Wet Dry World. That makes a lot more sense as a fortress, right? I think it does. BlueBob trying for some really cool movement there. If you're not going to go for the mountain clip, there's no point in taking the movement head on like this, so you can take that triple jump to save yourself a little extra time. It still won't be quite as fast as the mountain clip strat, but it is also easier to deal with than that double jump kick and such. You're getting bodied there. At least he didn't get thrown into the mountain. So Gainai now, all he is just that top of the island star behind. Tiny Huge Fortress, Rainbow Fortress, TikTok Fortress, Bowser in the Fortress, Vanish Cap under the Fortress. Hey, Bomb Fortress makes more sense. Like, I mean, you can call like a military base built into a hill a fortress, right? Like, it doesn't have to be made of artificial material. And the Bomb-Bombs have a pretty sweet setup there. They have like 2 cannons on that mountain. Like, come on. Okay, so Gainai is going to be doing a little bit of exterminator work as BlueBob heads on in to Tall Fortress. This stage is just not given enough credit for how bad it is. You've got 2 log wall kick stars that can easily turn sour. Red's is just an absolute Monka S in the first half and a bonk fest in the second half. You have Breezeless if you really want to go that route. And then you have Blast of the Lonely Mushroom, which is free, but just always feels a bit wrong. The snowman is a yes, thank you. It's more of a fortress than walls. BlueBob got his first log wall kick out of the way. Let's see. No firstie, no firstie. Okay, good.
Here we go.
If you get a firstie on that first wall kick going up the waterfall, you'll have a bad time. You'll at least have to take an extra really scary wall kick, or you'll just fall right down, which will be terrible. Okay, Gainai heading on in himself. Okay, log wall kicks. Nice and synchronized, just one full star apart. Yep, see, Gainai had to take that extra wall kick there because he didn't quite get enough height from the first one. I think he may have been a little too far to the left where he wall kicked. Not sure exactly what that was, but at least the second wall kick did get him the ledge grab. As BlueBob getting right to the top of the mountain. So now he's just going to be taking care of these extraneous stars. Let's see if he goes for reds, or I think this will be, yeah, this will be reds. So let's see what strat he goes for. There's a lot of approaches to this, some just slightly faster than others. And so he's going to be taking the long jump on the ending there. Very, very excusable. Still a difficult strat. Nice triple jump there, and the side wall kick, very clean. Nice and clean reds. Pretty much the only other thing he really could have done is add in a speed kick and do a dive rollout on the mushroom. So, and both of those things wouldn't have saved him more than like a second maybe. So, totally good reds. And Gainai also going to be heading in for reds here. Let's see what strat he decides to go for here. So he's actually not going to be doing the long... Okay, he's taking it a little more basic than BlueBob did, losing maybe a second or so on him, but a lot safer ultimately. Does still get the triple jump there, not going for the side flip wall kick. And he's going to be good to go. He's not losing too much time, but you could see side by side there, like how many different approaches and how much time you can lose. Gainai did definitely lose like a second or so in the maze just from like both awkward movement and not doing the same strat. BlueBob, too busy to mess around with Breezeless. He's got places to be, stars to see. Very nicely executed Breeze Star. That was picturesque. He dismounted the Breeze really nice and early. He was able to get that nice kick right into the hole without having to go on the other side of the Chucka. Like, it was very, very clean. Breezeless really wouldn't have saved him that much. That's a situation where Breezeless would have probably saved like a second and a half over that. At the average level you see Breezeless done at, with the minimal weight like to start the setup. BlueBob now heading to the top of Snowman's Fortress, the worst snow stage in the game. Very nicely done. Snowman's big head is either a 10-second star or a 20-second star. You don't go a little slow on it. You're always going to lose a lot of time if you lose any. And so now let's see if he goes for the double speed kick strat here. He is nice. This strat's really tight. You can just do a single speed kick if you'd like there, and that's what I personally do, but if you want to go as fast as possible, and the double speed kick does kind of help your alignment a little bit once you're on the slope, since it forces you to triple jump so late. Now Gainai on top of the Snowman's head. Very nice. And they got BlueBob just gonna chill with a bully. Now, I think this is how you should chill with every bully. You just take them and push them somewhere else. Don't mess with bullies. You don't have to keep toxicity in your life. This message brought to you by Super Mario 64. Gainai, okay, nice backup there. That would have been very, very awkward if you, like, for some reason tried to still triple jump there. Yeah, and boiling cold lava. A little fun fact for you, if you've ever looked inside the volcano in Lethal Lava Land, you'll see lava in the volcano, but internally, it's just recolored water, is all it is. Now, Gainai heading over to the deep freeze. One of the most underappreciated parts of this star is the final dive. If you are still holding A when you press B, it'll make you lose a little bit of time because technically Mario jump dives. So if you want to do that optimally, you have to very quickly go from A to B, which is the opposite of what you're typically doing, quickly moving from one button to the other. And so you have to practice it a lot before you're able to get it consistent on that star without having to think about it. BlueBob with a nice Mips grab as he's going to start the Hazy Maze Fortress, the most intriguing fortress of the run. I'm just gonna call them fortresses from now on instead of stages. I hope chat's okay with that. One day far in the future, someone will join the stream for the first time and say, okay, I've heard it called a course and a stage, but what's this about fortresses? You know, I spent the earlier part of my day in IKEA shopping for some new furniture, and to be honest with you, Hazy Maze Cave just looks like that without the lights. Like, that place is a maze. BlueBob going for triple box jump here. Nicely done. There's a little more to that than just triple jumping off a box. First off, you have to release A in the middle of your side flip. Otherwise, Mario will just grab the top of the fence. That's a minor thing that you get used to very quickly. The harder part, though, is once you actually get the triple jump, almost immediately after you hit A, you need to start holding back on the stick to make sure Mario doesn't reach the wall too quickly. Because the wall does extend very high, even though there's no ceiling. And then once you're over said wall, you need to make sure that you're not... When you start moving the stick forward again, you don't want to move too fast forward because there is a death plane that you can clip out of bounds. So there's a lot going on that you just don't really see on that star since it looks like them just jumping into the abyss. Your least favorite part of IKEA is the boulder RNG. Yeah, it's pretty awful. Gainai breaking the box, so he's just going to have to go grab another star. I don't know why he didn't just do emergency exit, but... Looks like Christmas Miracle should work out. Goes for the ground pound there. I don't really understand why. It's slower than just diving. I think he was just afraid that diving there would have put him too far ahead of the switch. I don't think he normally ground pounds. He may also have just been afraid that he didn't have enough speed, but I think that the ground pound wouldn't have fixed that. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm thinking he just overjumped it. I think that's what it is. BlueBob almost done, though. Just has to grab one more star. Gainai with just a couple more to close out the stage. BlueBob has forged a nice lead for himself, but we still have 2 stages left, and they're the most menacing out of any stage in the game. They're Rainbow Ride and TikTok Clock. One stage an exercise of minimalism in platforming design. Another one just vertical platforming design because the developers hate you. And in a speedrun, the most exciting but most emotionally and mentally taxing parts known to man. We got 4 stars to collect in Rainbow Ride coming up, and then all 7 in TTC. So BlueBob is heading upstairs right now to start this final gauntlet before Bowser in the Sky. You're going to be seeing these players start off with Lakitu Bounce, of course. And that trick already can cause tons of problems. BlueBob, unfortunately, doing a very late jump dive when he's trying to go up the stairs, so taking a bit of a bonk and making Mario chill out a couple seconds, but it's good to go now. Nice triple jump into the stage and dive right past it, but nice little backup with that kick to go right back in. Okay, so it's time. Let's see what Lakitu Bounce he decides to go for. We're going to be doing a right side, let's see, doing the side flip variant. The most common way to see Lakitu Bounce perform. You can skip that side flip with a quick turnaround, but it's a little harder to align. And then there are ways to perform the trick bouncing off the other rotating platform. Nice double kicks there, and the star is in his hands. He's good to go on that one. Now, Reds can lose you a fair amount of time on this, and of course you can miss angle swinging in the breeze and take a death there, but overall, BlueBob is in a nice position for Rainbow Run with that star out of his way. Let's see if Gainai can replicate that success. And Gainai not messing around with the triple jump into the stage. He's just going to do that long jump wall kick. BlueBob with the rollout movement there. That can be a little difficult to time. And you can see there, BlueBob, missing the 5 slide, having to take that extra little pause to have Mario get back up. One thing that you may have noticed earlier was he jump dove and then used the corner of a platform to cancel the diving without having to use a rollout. That's a really nice tech that you get to see shown off there to keep Mario going decently fast without having to deal with having to time a rollout and leave room for a rollout. Raw 64, the big reason that a category like this that's completely without them exists. Number 1, it makes sense as a no major glitches type category. But number 2, very few players are truly consistent at BLJs, and a lot of them are situational. Gainai unfortunately taking a death there at the start of that star. So ultimately what it would do, it wouldn't save that much time. It would only affect a very small handful of stars, if any, because I think Toxic Maze BLJs is one of the few that you could reasonably see. So it wouldn't affect that many stars, grand scheme, and all it would really do is just make them less consistent. And so, like, as it is, the category is more so a showcase of what you can do without having to be good at this one very specific glitch. The commentary is pre-recorded. Captain Urizen, I heavily butchered your name. I'm sorry, I can't see it super well. Yasarian, that's it. Yeah, my commentary is pre-recorded. I just knew you would type that at some point, but the racers themselves are also pre-recorded. Anyway, Gainai heading on through now to Tricky Triangles, the star that very oftentimes lives up to its name. And of course, the timer here is pretty tight, so nice backup there without going too slow. Now, BlueBob getting started on the Big Kahuna, arguably the hardest star in 70 Star, a title held with Pillarless and Lakitu Bounce, although this star is much longer, and that's really what was its difficulty too. GTC 100. This wall kick here should show you all you need to know. You have to wall kick off the tiniest nub of wall right there. And that's not even the hardest thing in the star. It's just constant jumps where any small mistake can cost you tens of seconds easily. And the coin routing is perfect if you do it the way that BlueBob is doing it right now. You can't miss anything. You have to hope the RNG just goes in your favor. It's something else. It takes a while to get into. This is a good idea. They should do it with live commentary. Yes. Yes, they should. It's almost like Commentator is being facetious. Now, Gainai also getting started on his 100 coin here. This wall kick can also be kind of finicky because look at the end area that you're going to land on. You're going to land that kick right on top of the blue coin switch. And not only do you have a very thin platform to land on there, so the ground pound has to be timed pretty precisely, but just the jump angle itself has to be really good to make sure you're on top of the switch instead of slightly on one side of it. A nice, clean finish from Gainai. Let's see if he gets better RNG than BlueBob here. Very, very nice. Okay, so he's going to be actually saving a little time on BlueBob's 100 coin, ultimately. But BlueBob cruising on along with his time-moving stars, getting pumped on these time-moving triple jump wall kicks. This is another very difficult strat that what really sucks about it is that strat leaves you with a very natural setup for the 3 time-moving stars, but the easier opener doesn't. It's really a shame because the easier opener results in a more awkward mid to end part of the star. But when you do the time moving triples, you're set up perfectly to keep going. Oh, BlueBob missing the triple here. What's the play? Is he going to be going for time? Okay, he's just going to go for the left side strat now instead of trying to do time moving reds. It is possible to grab the reds while time is moving, but it's very hard. And so now we've got BlueBob advancing to the top of the clock. Trying to go for get a hand. See, this is the most awkward one. And BlueBob showing off here the kick tech there. It's, I think, the only star, if not one of the only stars in the game where you have the ability to kick the wall and Mario will collect the star the same frame that the game still thinks he's kicking the wall. So it will actually apply the kick momentum after. Gainai taking a death there. Also, in case you didn't know, you can collect a star on the death plane. If it's the 100 coin star, Mario will just die after. Otherwise, if it's a normal star, he'll just leave the stage. Now, time jumps on moving bars from BlueBob here. The bars aren't moving, but Mario sure is, as he gets very clean execution there. And Gainai's going up for the same star as well. All right. BlueBob just having to wait to start up reds now. Gainai still got a few stars left to go, but BlueBob is still on some pretty decent pace right here. I believe 51 should still be pretty well on the table. Oh, may have spoken slightly too soon. That could have been a much worse mistake. Gainai with nice execution on roll into the cage. That one's so satisfying to pull off because you're doing a dive at a certain angle to where Mario just slides right past the cage. But if you do it wrong, like you don't have enough speed, for instance. Oh, Gainai having to wait an extra clock cycle because he fell off. It's a little unfortunate. BlueBob trying to head into Sky, but shooting past the entrance. Looks like his Rainbow Ride entrance all over again. Now let's see how he does on this stage. Ends up not actually going for that clip double jump there. Not too surprised. Goes for the really nice triple jump though. Taking the angle right at the top of the slope, saving a little bit of time in these platform cycles. And there you see the speed kick in action yet again, using the speed kick to cross that gap and start the triple jump very fast. Now let's see, moving left side, looks like yep, moving left side is the play, and he's got it. Very clean. Now, Gainai still has Toad to grab. He doesn't have another stage star, but BlueBob's going to have to miss a few throws to give Gainai an opening here. It looks pretty comfy for his lead right now. And a 50 is still on the table, just barely. With good throws, a 50 is going to be perfectly fine. All right. BlueBob misses the first throw. You can see the Rage Mario cams there. Let's see if he's able to hit the second one now. Looking like a 51, but still a low 51. As Gainai tries to advance into Sky. One throw down for BlueBob. That's another miss. Oh, is this the start of something? Gainai is in the stage now, and he's playing a little cleaner than BlueBob was. Let's see. Okay, that throw should be good. Okay, that one's good. BlueBob just needs one more. Gainai doesn't quite have the time to get to the top if he hits it. That's good. Looks okay. That's going to be it for BlueBob. A nice low 51 to clinch out this race. A little bit scary on the end there, but fortunately he had enough padding to where Gainai just didn't quite have the opportunity to catch up. Gainai, though, still going to have a nice solid time finishing here. He's probably going to be about a minute or so behind, which is not a bad finishing time at either. So, and Gainai looks like thought he was running 120 star for a moment, was about to grab that red underneath the stairs, but corrected himself, and now he's going in the pipe. That messed up his time just a little bit. A 51-11 from BlueBob. GG's. A few mistakes here and there definitely kind of plagued that run, but overall a really nice solid run with some really good stages. Especially Rainbow Ride went pretty well overall. Lakitu Bounce went perfectly fine first try. And Reds was really nice. And like throughout the rest of the game, I mean, Lava Boost, Fire Sea, of course, there's just a lot that went right in both of these runs. And even though there were some mistakes, those shouldn't really overshadow how well these guys overall played throughout. Just CCM was the biggest thing. I wish we could get these guys in for interviews to see what their thoughts on that CCM was. Now, Gainai having a lot of trouble with Bowser on the third throw here. He's having to just wait for Bowser to walk back onto the stage so that he can grab his tail. But he's finally got it. He didn't die. That's the most thankful part. To be honest with you, I didn't even know Bowser had an animation for teetering on the edge after running towards it. But the more you know. Yeah, both these guys got the world record. It's the same category, right? Wow. GG's, 52-37, so minute 26 behind. Not too bad. That's going to do it for this race, folks. I'm Electric. Stick around, folks. I'll still be around for the next race coming up between Cheese and Heisenberger. And I'll be joined by Markinator on comms for that one. So don't go anywhere. We've got lots more Mario Racing action coming for the rest of the day. But for now, we're going to be right back with an intermission. So stay tuned.